Hi everyone, this is Sarah from SRS Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make this kawaii teapot. He is Amigurumi or Loomigurumi style, and he is made just on our hook. So let me tell you what we're going to need to get started. We will need a hook. You will also need a stitch marker or a paper clip, C-clip, something to record where we are in the rows. You will need some eyes. And I use 6mm safety eyes that I've gotten off of Amazon. You'll also need a band for the mouth, and I'm going to use black, scissors to give it a snip, and stuffing to put inside your guy to make him squishy. This design is a bit band heavy. It takes 457 bands in total. The handle is 23 bands. This little top part here is 11 bands, and the spout is 38 bands. And I'm doing 4 rows of color on mine. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and both those rows are 30 stitches. Plus you're also going to need another 30 bands to do this bottom lip here, and then bands for this right here. So if you want to plan your colors, that's what you're going to need. And for this design today, I'm going to be using some glitter bands and white. So I'm going to be alternating between those two. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start our project by making the pieces that we're going to need. So we're going to make the handle, the top, and the spout. And we're going to start with our handle. We're going to start with our top. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a chain on our hook. So we're taking one band, wrapping it around and putting it back on so it looks like a cap band, and we're going to pull through 5. So we have a total chain of 6. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we should have a total of 6. 1, with the cap band down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and you're going to go back in the first stitch that was from the hook, and we're going to do a slip knot, a slip stitch. So we're going to put a band on your hook. We are going to pull it through what was on our hook. We're going to pull it through what's on our hook that was already on our hook, and then we're going to make a slip knot. Okay, let's do that again. In the next spot, put your hook through, take a band, going to pull it through the stitch and through what was on your hook and make a slip knot. Now we're going to do it again. Pull through the stitch, pull it through your hook, slip knot. 2 more times. Pull it through the stitch, pull it through your hook, and a slip knot. These bands are kind of stretchy. Through and slip knot. And for this last slip knot, I'm just going to pull it tight. Whoops, I broke the band. I pulled too tight. Let's do that again. I'm going to pull it tight. And this is going to be our handle. We're actually going to fold it down like this when we attach it, so it makes like a little knob. So that is our handle. The next thing we're going to make, we're going to just put it off to the side. The next thing we're going to make is the handle. That was the top. Now we're going to do the handle. And we're going to do something similar though to what we just did. So we're going to start with a chain of 12. So here's our first 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So then we're going to do that same slip knot technique. Let's stretch this out. It got kind of funky. So here is the 12th chain on the hook. So we're going to be going to the next spot. Put our hook through. We're going to pull one band through what was on our hook, where our hook was, and then we're going to pull through what was on our hook, and then make a slip knot. And then we're going to repeat. We're going to get on to the next, and we're going to do the same thing all the way down. So it goes into the next space on the chain. You pull a band through the stitch there, and then through what's on your hook, and you make that slip knot. And that should be a total of 11 stitches. I have a lot of bands, but I also have ones I have just a few colors left of. So I like this design because it lets me use, like, 30 of one color, 30 of another color, and I can kind of go through my stash. This is a bag of very old glitter bands that I received. My mother actually sent them to me. And I don't see these anymore. These are the new glitter bands that you can get at Michael's. They look a little bit different. They have almost like a matte finish, where these are really shiny and sticky. So I thought, since they're very shiny, it might make my teapot look like it was glass. All right, we're almost done. Our last one, I'm just going to make our last stitch. I'm just going to do a slip knot through everything like that, and then we're going to put it off to the side, and that is going to be our handle. You can see right that handle. Okay, now we're going to make the spout. This takes about 38 bands, and we're going to start in the round. We're going to start with a magic ring, and we're going to pull 6 bands through a magic ring. So for a magic ring, take a band, put it on your hook, wrap it around 3 times. So you end up with 3 bands on the hook. We're going to take one band. We are going to pull it through all 3 of those rings, put it back on the hook, and then make a slip knot. We're going to do it again, putting our hook through those 3 bands together. We're going to pull one band through and make a slip knot. These are sticky. So we're going to end up with 6 stitches all around. This was 4. 5 and 6. And then we are back where we started here. And if you need to count to make sure you're on track, 1 is on the hook, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the first stitch where we're going to put our hook in. This is going to be the first stitch on the next round. We're going to keep track of it at this point so that we know where we're ending and finishing. Our next row is going to have 7 stitches. So we're not increasing like we normally do, where we put 2 in each. Let's start. This is stitch number 1. 1 band through. We're going to put our stitch marker on. Then we're going to do another single stitch. This is 2. In our third stitch, we are going to add 2 bands instead of 1. So that's 3, and back in the same exact spot for an increase. This will be number 4. And then we go in the next stitch, number 5. and then 6 and 7, the last 2 stitches. And then we're back at the beginning. We're going to put our hook underneath where that stitch marker was. We're going to take our stitch marker out. Now we're going to do 7 stitches all around. So that's 1 stitch in each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's our first. We're going to pull it through, back on our hook. And we're going to put our stitch marker. That was 1. We move over to the next spot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our last stitch on this row is 7. And then we're going to put our hook right underneath in the stitch that had the stitch marker. So we're back to the beginning. For this row, this will be, the next row we're doing is number 4. We are going to be decreasing from 7 down to 6. So we're going to do 3 single stitches. Then we're going to decrease 1 and then do 2 more single stitches. So here's our first stitch. And that's where I'm going to put my stitch marker. So I'm going to do 3 total. So that's 1. This is 2. And then our next stitch is 3. And then we're going to decrease. And how we do that is we're going to go into our next stitch and put it on our hook. We're going to hold it on our hook and we're going to grab our next stitch. So we're putting 2 stitches on our hook, and once we pull a band through, we're pulling it through both stitches, and that's bringing us from 2 stitches down to 1. And now then we're going to do 2 more single stitches, so then we have 6 stitches total on this row. The last one's right here. Hopefully you can see this with these glitters. I know they're kind of jellyish, so they're a little bit see-through. And then we're going to put our hook right under where the stitch marker was, where we started. Now we're going to go down to 5 stitches. So we're going to do 2 single stitches, a decrease, and then 2 more single stitches. So here is where we're going to start. We're going to pull 1 band through, back on the hook, slip knot through both, and put our stitch marker on. Get out of the way. And then we're going to do another single stitch right next to it, and it's getting a little crowded, so just take your time, spread it out if you need to. Then we're going to do a decrease, so we're going to grab the first stitch and then the second stitch, and we're going to put them both onto 1 band, and this is our decrease. And then 2 more single stitches, and that gives us a total of 5 stitches on the row. Oops. Now we're back at the beginning again, and we have a last row to do. Now it's starting to look like a spout, see? Our last row is going to be 5 stitches all around. So here we go. 1, put that stitch marker on. And I'm going to have to open it a little bit because it is kind of tight. 2. And then our next one here, 3. 4. And last one here is 5. Right there. And 5. That's our last one. We're going to put our hook underneath where our stitch marker is. You might need to spread it out a little to get both of those bands there. And I'm just going to take one more band and I'm going to do a slip knot here. When we put the little pieces together, we can hide our ends. And for this one, we're going to hide it inside because this is actually the point and this is the base. So we can hide those in. So now we are done making all of our pieces. So now we just need to make the bottom of our teapot. All right, we are going to start our teapot. And we're going to start with a magic ring. I'm going to use white, and then I'm going to be adding in some glitter colors for the rows. We're going to be doing a total of 16 rows, and the best places to put color would be in rows 6, 8, 10, and 12. And then also you can add another color here for this ridge on the bottom that helps it stand up, and then there's this ridge around the top. So you just want to keep that in mind as we get going. So we're going to start with a magic circle. Taking a band, we're wrapping it around our hook, a magic ring, sorry, 3 times. We've got 3 loops, and we're going to pull through 6 bands. Band on our hook, pull it through those 3 rings, back on, and a slip knot. Hook goes back through the center of all 3 rings. Make sure you get it. Pull another one through. That's 2. Slip knot. Do it again. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we're going to put our hook through the first stitch that we made, and so we can start our second row. Our next row is going to have 12 stitches total. So that is going to mean 2 stitches in each of the 6. So here's our first. We're going to pull it through, and this is where I'm going to put my stitch marker. Definitely want to record where we're beginning and ending. Back in, hook back in the same exact spot for our second stitch. So that's 2. Move to the next stitch. We're going to put in stitches 3 and 4. 3, 4. Moving over to the next stitch for 5 and 6. 5 and 6. The next stitch is 7 and 8. And then we have 9, 10, 11, and 12. And after 12, we'll be back at the beginning. So we're going to put our hook underneath our stitch marker here. We're going to start the third row. In this row, we're going up to 18. So we're going to increase. So you're going to need 18 bands. So here's our first one. We're going to do a single stitch. We're going to put our stitch marker back on. And then in the next one, instead of doing a single, we're going to do a double. So we're going to repeat this pattern. Single, double, all the way around. So that's 2. And then we're going to start their little pattern again. Single, and then double. Single, double, single, double, single, double, And then our pattern one more time in the last 2 stitches, a single and a double. Now we're back to the beginning. We're going to put our hook on in the stitch where our stitch marker was. We're going to start row number 4. And in this row, we're going to do 2 singles and then an increase, and that's going to bring us up to 24. So here is a single. This is our first stitch. We're going to move that stitch marker, single, and then we're doing a second single. And then we're going to do a double in the third stitch. So that's 1 and then 2, right in that same spot. We're going to repeat that pattern again. Single, single, double. Single, single, and double. So 1, 2. Single, single, and then 2 stitches. 1, oops, 2. Almost put my hook on the next one. Single, single, 2 stitches in the next. For the increase, 1 and 2. Single, single, and then a double. 1 and 2. Single, it's our last set. And then another single, and then a double, 2 stitches in the last. Now this is the bottom of our item, and now we want to start to curve it up to make the shape. So our next row is going to be 24 stitches all around, and we're just going to be putting it in the front loop, not in both loops, but in the front loop, and it's going to kind of curve the item so it goes up. So we're just pulling it through that front loop only, and it seems a little loose at this point. Move that stitch marker, but it will be fine. It won't be loose and floppy. So we're just going to go all the way around to just in that front loop. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and our last stitch is 24. Front loop only, that entire row. So now that changes the angle. So instead of going out this way, we're going up. So for the next, that was the only row we're doing like that. So your hook can go right underneath where the stitch marker is. In our next row, this is row number 6. And if you want to add some color, I suggest, this is a great place to put it because it'll even out nicely when it comes to where the rows of color are. And we are going to be doing 30 stitches. So I'm going to be using this glittery orange. So here's our first stitch, pull one through. So to get from 24 to 30, we're going to be doing 3 single stitches and then an increase. So that's our first. That's 1, 2, this is 3. And then in our next one, we're going to do an increase. So 2 stitches in one spot, 1, 2. We're going to do the same thing in the next one. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. So that's 1 and 2. We're going to do it again. 3 singles and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. That's 1 stitch and a second one in the same spot. Singles, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase in the next 2 stitches. 1, oops, 1 and 2. I have a bad habit when I'm working by myself of holding a bunch of bands in this hand and just pulling from them. So sorry if I sometimes do that. 3 singles. 1. Like this. 2. And then 3. And then we're going to add our increase here. I do it because then I'm not like picking up bands every single time if I have a bunch I'm holding. For a while I was putting the bands up on my finger and pulling them off too. Just trying to make things go faster. Our last set, 3 bands and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then our last spot is that increase. 1 and 2. Back to the beginning. Hook where the stitch marker is. Now we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more rows. This was row 6. So you need to do 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I'm going to do a white row, then a colored row, a white row, and a colored row, and then a white row. And I'm going to end on a white row. So I'm going to pause the video here. Go ahead and make 5 more rows. You can either alternate your colors, do it all one color, whatever you'd like. 30 stitches all around, 5 rows, and I'll meet you back when we're done. All right, welcome back. I have now finished those 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to start on row number 12. And this row is actually just another row of 30 all around. So I was trying to make a rainbow out of these colors. Let's see how we do here with the purple. Whoops. So we're going to do 30 stitches all around. So that's 1. Let's move our stitch marker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and our last stitch here is 30. There we go, and we're back at the beginning. I'm going to put my hook in, and we are going to do the bottom ridge that helps our teapot stand up next. So what I'm going to do is take my stitch marker off, and I'm going to put it through the last stitch and where my hook is. That way it doesn't start to unravel while we're working on the bottom. And for this part, we're going to do a row around here. Now you can sort of see how this is flat, and then this is where we did the front loop only, and that would made it so that it curved up instead of coming out this way. So we are going to do the stitches in this stitch here all the way around. So that's basically the back loop of that one set of stitches. So you can start anywhere you want. You can put your hook underneath that single loop right there. And you want to get some bands. So we're going to do a slip stitch row all around. We're going to pull one band through, we're going to do a slip knot, and we're going to slide our hook through the side of the next stitch. We're going to pull our band through there and through what was on our hook. Slip, knot, next stitch. We're going to pull a band through that one band, what's on our hook, back on for a slip knot. And we're going to continue this all the way around, making slip knots, not a single crochet. Just a little bit different. Give a little detail there. You keep going all the way around. Some of these pink bands almost look like they're purple, but when I put them in with the purple, they were really, really pink. Those three there look a little different. I'll have to make that the back. Slip knot just in that front loop only as we go around. sorry, it's actually the back loop, but it's just a single loop, a single band. It's not a whole row. And this is not exact science. So if you can't figure out where you want to, put it, you can just kind of slip it under any group of stitches there. We're just trying to make a little edge. A lot of rainbow loom projects I'm noticing are pretty forgiving. So it'll be okay. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I forget I'm supposed to be doing a slip knot and I do a single crochet. Because that's just like what my body and my hands are used to. My mind has it pre-programmed. Almost there. There we go. Back all the way around. And then I'm going to go back into the first stitch here with my hook. Right under here in the first stitch. And I'm going to do a slip knot to attach the two. Pulling it through everything on my hook and making a slip knot. And we can hide this right up inside it. And that gives you the little edge, is able to stand up a little bit cleaner and nicer. And it's just another, decoration piece. If you want to leave that off, that's perfectly fine. So now I'm going to put my hook back through where I was working here before. Last stitch, and then underneath where my stitch marker was. And I'm going to take it off. Now we are on row 13. And now we need to start decreasing to get to the top. So what we're going to do is 3 single crochets and then a decrease. So 3 singles. So here's our first single. 1. Stitch marker back on. And then 2. And then a third. And this is going to bring us from 30 to 24 stitches. So we're going to decrease. That's grabbing 1 stitch and then another stitch on the hook, pulling it through both of those. Back on the hook. We're going to do that pattern again. 3 singles. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do a decrease. We're grabbing the first stitch and then the next one. Pattern again. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. Grab 1, grab 2. And in this project, we're always working on, sets of it's a division number of 6. So, there's 4 stitches. We're going to be doing it 3 times. So single, 1, 2, 3, and then that decrease. Grab 1, 2 stitches. Single, 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease, grabbing 2 stitches, pulling it through both. Those 2 stitches are now 1. Let's do it again. 1, 2, and 3. And then our last 2 stitches here in the row are going to be our decrease. Grabbing them, 1, 2. And that puts us right back at the beginning. Now we're going to add our handle and our spout and our face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm going to swap it out for my hook like I've done in the past. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our spout. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide my holding band up inside. So I'm just going to take it, I'm going to pull it inside, and there's my spout. And you're going to want to decide kind of where you would like it to be. So I think right here is going to be pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of bands and I'm going to attach them to the bottom of my spout so I can attach it. So I'm just going to put my hook underneath here and I am going to make a slip knot in a band, pulling it through here. That way I can attach it. So I'm going to do 1 there. I think I'm going to do 3. I'll do a second one here, and then kind of around this side, let's get a little band in there. 3. So now I'm going to use these 3 bands that are attached to the side to attach my spout. So I'm going to put it where I want it, pointing kind of up like this, and then I'm going to reach on the inside. I'm going to put my hook through, and I'm going to grab that band and pull it inside. Then I'm going to go up through the next area where the band is, and I'm going to grab that band and I'm going to pull it inside, and I'm going to slip knot them together. And then I'm going to do it one more time. Let's see, poke our hook up, grab that band there, pull it through, and make a slip knot. And now it's attached. Let's see how it looks. Not too bad. There we go. So what I'm going to do on the inside is just attach. I'm going to take that single band that was the last of the 3, and I'm just going to slip it underneath a couple of these stitches here. And then I'm going to pull 1 more band through to kind of secure them all into place and just make a little slip knot. And that will give me a nice secure spout. Very good. Now handle on the opposite side. We're going to do something similar. Now we already have this band here that we reused to make the slip knot and end the handle. So I am going to add a band to the end on this side. Just slip my hook through, pull a band, and make a little knot, and I'm going to do it exactly opposite here. So I'm just going to line it up, put my hook through, and pull that band through. Just like that. And that's where I want it. Okay, actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it through the hole so my little bit is sticking out here, and I'm going to secure it through this spot. That way this loose band doesn't end up pulling out. I think that's why I think I would like that better. So I'm just going to do a slip knot on that. Just like that. Yeah. And then my loose band won't come out. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna attach my handle. And these bands are not giving a great performance for this video. You can see how this is so much nicer and smoother. So definitely make your teapot with opaques. Jellies, glitteries, they don't do it quite. So right under here, I'm just gonna stick my hook through, pull this band right through. Then I'm going to pull a little bit of the end of my handle through, put my hook through, and grab some bands to attach it to. I'm going to pull it through here and make a slip knot. So there's my teapot, handle, spout. Now let's give it a face. I like them to be happy. So you of course don't need to do the face. But I'm just gonna put my eyes in. I'm using 6mm safety eyes. And if you don't have safety eyes and you would like to use bands, you can do that. You're gonna wanna take 2 black bands or whatever color you want your eyes, put them on your hook, twist them both around. Now grab them again, all bands, and twist them around again. Then you take 1 band and you pull it through everything. So you get all those loops onto the 1 single band. Now you have it like this. And then all you'll need to do is figure out where you would like to position your eye. And you put it here on the side. You stick your hook through, pulling the loop on the one side through. Now stick it on the other side. Grab that loop, and then you can just make a simple slip knot, and that will give you your eye. I have the safety eyes. They've come in quite handy. I really like them. Safety eyes have these little backs. You need to push them on, which if you've watched my videos before, you know I have trouble getting them on. 1, 3 clicks. Let's get this one on. Oh, I don't know why I have such a hard time. Guess I don't have very strong fingers. Okay, there we go. There's his eyes. And I am going to take a scissor and snip a band to make a little mouth. I'm going to give him a little smile. I'm going to poke one end through. Just, you can kind of stretch it out to make it easier, and you just find out where you want your little smile. That's pretty cute. He has a big grin. And then when you've got it where you want it, you can just make a knot in the back. You can also use bands and crochet a little smile, whatever works, or leave the face off entirely. Either way, not a big deal. Just make a knot, pull it through, and there is our smile. Now we're going to finish it up. Let's put our hook back in where our stitch marker was holding things in place. We are on row number 14. We are going to be doing 2 single stitches and then a decrease all the way around, going down from 24 to 18. So here's our first stitch. Single stitch, stitch marker in place. Let's do another single stitch right here next to it. And then we're going to do a decrease. We're going to do 1, 2 stitches on the hook, and we're going to pull it through. 1, 2, back on the hook. Single, single, and then a decrease. 1, 2. Single, another single, and then we're going to put 2 bands together for a decrease. 1, 2. Single, 1, another single, that's our second, and then a decrease. 1, 2. We're grabbing both bands. 1, 2. Single, 1, 2, and then a decrease. 1, 2. Single, single, and our last 2 stitches are going to be that last decrease. 1, 2. Put us right back to the beginning. All right, there we are. I'm going to put my hook under, and I'm actually going to stick my stitch marker in again because we're going to stuff him now. So he's nice and pudgy. You can, of course, leave out the stuffing. And actually, before I do that, I'm just going to adjust. I want to pull through this band from the ridge onto the inside. So you just need to find a spot underneath where it's close. Grab it off camera and pull it through. Just like that. And you can't even see it anymore. So I'm gonna stuff, and you can use extra bands, cotton. I actually have an old pillow that I wasn't using that had some stuffing in it. So I'm just gonna, I've been pulling out, and I've been using one pillow for like all of my projects, and I have multiple ones. I've probably made about 30 projects with just like one pillow. So you're gonna put your stuffing in however much you like. You can buy a huge bag of stuffing like at your local craft store. Now I'm going to put my hook back in where my stitch marker was, and we're going to go to our next row, which is going to be a single, a decrease, a single, a decrease all the way around. So our first stitch is the single. So let's get that on there with our stitch marker. And then we are going to decrease. 1, 2. That's a decrease. Single stitch, and then our next one is the decrease. So we're grabbing 2 stitches, making it smaller and smaller so it can come together on the top. Single and a decrease. 1, 2. Single. And then the decrease. 1, 2. This row is going to end up with 12 stitches. I didn't say that before. Single. And then the decrease. 1, 2. Oops. 2. Single. And then a decrease for the last 2. Try not to get stuffing all stuck inside my stitches. 1 and 2. Okay, stitch marker back in, and I'm actually going to take it out again. I'm going to use my stitch marker because I need my hook for this next part. Put it right in here. The next part we're going to do is we're going to do another slip stitch row around the top. And that's going to make it look like the edge of the top of the teapot, so it can give some distinction between the 2 sides. So I think I'm going to do mine in pink because my handle is pink and my top is pink. So we need to make it a row around. This is the last row we just did, so I'm going to attach it to the next row right here. And where I'm going to attach it is in between the stitches. And just like this. So you're going to stick your hook under, grab a band through, make a slip knot. We are going to go under the next spot. Grab a band, slip it through what's on your hook, make a slip knot. Under the next one. Grab on your hook and make a slip knot. And we're just going to keep going all the way around the circle. And that's going to give us this little tiny edge here. You just make a slip knots. All the way around. You can see that? In between the 2 stitches. If you find a different place and you are more comfortable with putting your stitches in there, you are more than welcome to do that. And we're almost done. We have 2 small things left to complete. Okay. And then I'm back at the beginning, and I'm going to stick it under this first stitch just to slip knot it together and pull it inside my teapot. I'm going to pull this band inside, down from here into the inside. I'm going to hide it down there. All right, let's put our hook back in where we were. We have 1 row left to do, and then we're done. And we have to attach the top of the teapot. For this row, we're going to do decreases all around. So here's our first stitch already on our hook. We're going to grab our second one, and we're going to, whoops, don't go through your pink. Don't go through your edge color. I'm going to make a decrease. Get off there. Oops, sorry, I lost a stitch here. Hold on a second. Whoop. So that was our first, oh, get in there. That was our first decrease. Now we're going to grab the next 2. So we're going to do another decrease. So that was 2. So this is 3. Ooh, I don't know what I'm having so much trouble here at the end. Here we go. Grab the next 2. Just those white bands. Just your teapot main color. 1. And, oops, what is going on? Next 2. This should be 5. And 1 more. All right, so now we're back at the beginning, and we just want to secure this, so I'm going to go underneath my next stitch. I'm going to take 1 white band and make a slip knot, and I'm going to pull through this band so it gets hidden, so we don't see it. And now we need to attach our handle. It doesn't look very happy right now. Yes, better. So now we know to attach our handle, and what I'm going to do is, here is the handle. I am going to put my hook through the end of this handle, through this one side. I'm going to take my band here and I'm going to pull it through. So now it's together. It makes like a little nub. And now I'm going to attach it to here, to the top. So what you want to do is stick your hook under, grab this, pull it inside, just like that. And if you want to leave it like that, you can leave it like that. It is pretty secure, just inside. Or you can grab it right here. You've pulled it through, and now we want to secure it. So we're going to grab some white bands on one side, the blue band on this side, and then some more white bands on this side. And you just pull it through all those bands, making a slip knot. And then you just need to pull it inside and get the ends inside. And there you go. That's a little teapot. All done. One thing I do want to say, because a couple of people have been asking me about this, is how come my designs are different sizes. And I'm usually showing you one I've made maybe weeks or a month ago, and then one I've made just right in front of you. And the bands, while you're making them, they stretch out a little bit. So this one's going to end up being a little bit bigger usually than the one that I'm showing you in the beginning. And different bands, different companies, different sizes. So that does happen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this design. If you did like it, please go ahead and give my tutorial a thumbs up. And if you would I'd love to see your pictures. So if you want to go ahead and post them on my Instagram at SRS Designs, I would love to see them. Have a great day and keep looming.